Sammy, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm so excited to get this opportunity to chat to you a little bit. How are you doing?
I'm all good. Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to talk about these things today. It's going to be quite interesting and quite informative. Yeah.
That's awesome. Like I said, obviously you and I have worked together in a couple of different jobs over the last few years, which is just so cool. It's so awesome to kind of look at where we are now and think about where we started. Both of us being waitresses, and it's really cool. So I'm just really excited for this opportunity because obviously you deal so much with youth empowerment and youth development and the role that we can play in businesses. And yeah, so thank you so much for having joined us. I'm really, really excited about it. So just to start off, will you give us and our viewers a little bit of an introduction as to who you are and what you do?
Okay, awesome. So I'm Sam. That kind of is a giveaway. But yeah, to those who haven't seen it, I'm Sam. And I'm currently just finished my honors in human resource management, which has been amazing. I think the traditional idea of human resource management is sort of labor disputes, labor law, contracts and stuff. And I mean, there is a very important role in a business. However, HR has moved. It's moved into a completely different direction now, where it's looking at strategic management and it's saying, what is a business's objective and what are their goals and where do they want to go and what do they need to do with their work and their employees in order to get there? What skills do they need? What professions do they need? And where they're at now and how are they going to develop their workforce to get there? So for me, that's been so cool and so stimulating. I love people. And so I'm looking forward to going into that space in the world of work. So right now where I'm at in terms of my career is I've been fortunate enough to have some experience working with Mark Ashton at Decusatio. It's a consulting firm. And I've been able to get involved with Youth Employment Service and the Yes programs. And I've been able to run them from recruitment to placement and then just to almost just keeping that working. And it's been a really awesome experience and working with people, which is great. I think my biggest fear is going into the world of corporate and being sat down into a desk and just having to sit and work with a laptop all day. It's not really stimulating for me. And yeah, next year I'm going on full time with Mark. So we'll be running more programs and a little bit more intricate programs. And that'll be awesome. That'll be really cool. I'm really excited for that. We've got a lot going on in the pipeline. So it's a good time to be moving from being part-time or into a full-time position at Decusatio. So I'm really excited. And yeah, Kels, that's kind of like where I'm at right now.
That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. And I can only imagine the experiences you've had so far working with Mark and his team, because I mean, I've also experienced it. It's an amazing business to be a part of. And they're very lucky to have someone like you as well that is just so driven and determined and hardworking. So
thank you,
that's
Kels.
really cool. And I'm excited to see what the world brings your way in the next few years. It's awesome, Sammy. So I've just got three very cool questions to ask you, because you are in fact an expert in terms of youth development and how we can change the way of the world in terms of youth programs. So these questions are all pretty much centered around that. And yeah, we just love to see your perspective. So the first question I have for you is, obviously many businesses are starting to hire newly graduates and more youth-centered employees. Why do you think that is? Why are the youth the new IT employee?
I think the key word here is experience. And you're looking at the social dilemma where coming out of university with most degrees, I mean, even from education to corporate to like a BCom or even like engineering, whatever it is, most degrees you come out with zero experience. And now you're going and you're applying for jobs that require 4 to 6 years. I know in my industry, 4 to 6 years experience. And now you're looking at these corporates where they're going, okay, we want experienced people, but you know, they don't exist, not available because we all don't have experience. And I'm going to contradict myself, but let's just run with it. The situation or the dilemma is that these corporates are now growing and they're having these jobs that are opening up that don't require experience. So I'm going to use a very practical example of like a call center. You need people that are qualified and that they know the industry well enough, but they don't have experience. But they don't need experience because people with 4 to 6 years work in a call center. So of these people coming out of university with the qualifications can step into. And I think that's from a strategic perspective and a social needs perspective, it's a very important strategy, because we're seeing now these postgrads getting the experience they need. You're getting these corporates that are able to develop their workforce into the place from junior, working them into more senior roles. And then obviously you're getting these people that are learning about the industry from the bottom up. So they are going to be perfectly qualified in terms of experience and qualification by the time they're ready to step into more senior positions. So it is, I mean, it's a perfect strategy. Obviously they like loops in it and whatever, but it's a contributing strategy to the social needs and to the corporate needs of, the sort of cycle of business.
Of course, you're completely right. Everything you said makes so much sense. And it's a really good initiative to be following as well, because ultimately, the younger the people are that are getting educated to do these kinds of jobs and are being trained to do these jobs, the longer they can go on and train further people. When you're young, you have all that extra energy, you have all the extra time to go before you can retire, whatever it is. So it just gives you lots of time and space to do what you need to do, which is amazing. So thank you for that, Sammy.
And it goes back to like strategic management of your employees.
Of course. So the next question runs very similarly to that, which is, what kinds of unique perspectives and knowledge systems can we as the youth bring to businesses?
So I think Kels, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, cool. So from a unique perspective, just kind of run with this one. I think what's really cool is we've looked at like how the world of work has really like transformed from a traditional 9 to 5 to almost being like available all the time.
Yeah.
And obviously, like not obviously, but youth are very adaptable. They're adaptable to the space, and for corporate, it's such an advantage to be able to have your employees available all the time. And instead of working the traditional 9 to 5, people are working rather like I know for myself, like I work from 7 to 9 and then maybe run my errands from 9 to 12. I'm still available if need be. However, I'm not sitting at an office at a desk, because then, I've made up that time from 7 to 10. So we're having like this perspective of going, we are not working a 9 to 5 anymore. We are working a full day. I'm available at all times. I mean, I'm hearing from industries and people senior in the industries where they have meetings at 6 o'clock on a Thursday night, because that's what we do now. We don't work 9 to 5 anymore. And because of this sort of perspective of youth, the phones and always being online and being available, they've given this perspective and it's kind of sort of washed into the world of corporate, and not just from a social perspective, but into a work perspective, and really maximizing productivity and availability of staff and of employees.
That makes sense.
I think that kind of somewhat perspective that the youth can sort of give corporates.
Of course, it makes so much sense. And then you as you said, it's a big benefit that our whole generation and the generations just above us and just below us have been brought up in a social media age, one that we naturally gravitate towards social media, which also makes our jobs, I think, within corporate completely different. So as you said, the times are different, the way that we interact is completely different, but it's almost natural.
Completely different.
Yeah, but it's natural to our generations. The kind of work that you're doing is more in reach naturally than it would be for someone 20, 30 years older than us. Just because
COVID has just accelerated this movement. Like I think it was inevitable, but COVID has obviously accelerated it because of like really forcing people to go online.
Yeah.
But we've had that conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's not rehash it.
But it all plays into one another. It's really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Sammy, the last question I have for you is also very related to this, and it's more focused around, as you know, I'm part of Dynamic Body Technology, and a lot of our focus is placed on corporate wellness and the employee wellness within each business. So what I want to ask you is, once again, as an expert in youth development and your youth employment services, how do you think, or why do you think that the youth should be in some way in charge of leading the wellness solutions and wellness journeys within a corporate business? Like, why us? Why should we be the ones?
I think because, well, one, like looking at Corona, there's definitely a new perspective of it. So, for example, your wellness programs used to look like having a daycare at the office for people with their kids to just help them out, help them with stress and carrying kids from school and but I mean that's not really applicable anymore because people aren't going to the office. So I'm going to answer this in two, like a 1-2. So I think my first point is that they're going to come with a fresh perspective, which is good, but that's not necessarily only the youth. So it'll be the youth and other wellness experts. However, I think from the youth's perspective, there's this movement of social awareness that is happening in our world. And I think the youth are very, very much updated and informed on that versus sort of the older generation. The older generation is quite like closed off to the movement. Not, all older generation, I'm being very general here, but the youth is very much informed and on top of that game. And I think because of their social awareness, they will contribute to then looking at employees and looking at what wellness now looks like versus what it used to look like. And that's where I think the youth will play a very positive and important role in leading this sort of movement of older wellness and what old wellness looks like and what newer wellness looks like. I mean, you can also look at the basics of like health. We are seeing fresh new information on health and what health looks like. It's not only banting anymore. It's not only protein only diets or whatever the case may be. And the youth are on top of that, like being physically healthy and mentally healthy is a newer sort of way of life versus sort of the older experts in wellness that would have looked at wellness before. So you look at also at that perspective of them going, okay, look, even if you think about it, like our parents didn't really have like life orientation at school, where we had to literally physically study like what wellness is and importance of stress and importance of stress relievers and importance of healthy diets and all that kind of stuff. Our parents weren't studying that. So we coming like that's school level. Now I look at people who are actually going into the industry and researching this stuff and actually contributing very important information to the stuff as the youth going, developing into being an expert in this space. They have more information available to them and they're able to actually, but they have to lead it. They have to lead it because it's a new perspective. And I think they're the most informed on it based on what I've just said, like based on the fact that there's more information, they're more socially aware and
yeah, of course. It's so true. We seem to see it more and more often as the world progresses. The youth seem to progress with it. As things evolve, so does youth kind of perspectives on things and ways of dealing with things, their problem solving skills and all of that. So I completely agree with you. It's really cool. And that's why I think what you're doing is so amazing, because it's clear just from these last few minutes that the youth has so much to offer businesses. And of course, as you said, so much to offer. Yeah, exactly. And the experience might not be there straight out of varsity or in one's first year of working, but experience is something that you gain over time, that you can grow and develop.
And that's what's so awesome about these YES programs is it's like yes, corporates are trying to do it. However, these YES programs are fully practiced implementation programs that we've seen success from. Like a prime example is just Decusatio. We had someone come in we ran a program, and one of the girls started as a researcher in the beginning of the year, just helping with research. She's now writing articles that are getting published.
Oh,
And that's a 9-month, 10-month program. It's not even like a 2-year program or an 18-month program. These programs are so useful, and it's giving people, you know what, you come out of varsity, you have the skill, but you don't have the competency.
Yes.
And now by doing these programs and getting the experience, you're now getting the competency to really live out the position and succeed in the position that you sort of looking for. If it's like a managerial role or an assistant role, whatever it is, you're gaining that from the ability from your experience.
Yeah.
So these programs are awesome.
It's amazing. Yeah. It's a really cool thing to be doing and implementing, because there's just so much potential in every single university graduate, or even people that haven't gone and studied a degree, people that are young and enthusiastic and driven. You know, there's so much potential that needs to be unlocked sometimes. And I think that these YES programs are exactly what we need, especially in a country like South Africa. It's exactly what we need, because by changing the way
there's a social need for it.
Exactly. As you said, that's what will allow greater change, is by building up from the base levels, you know. So Sammy, I just want to say again, thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to chat to me. I know that I've learned so much from you over the years, but now as well in particular, and I just really look up to you. I always have, you know that. And I'm really grateful that we've gotten to work together and do so many different projects over the years. So thank you again for joining me today.
Oh, thank you, Carl.
Appreciate it. And I know our viewers will as well.
Awesome. It's only a pleasure. And I'm glad that I could give you some insight on what I do and something I'm very passionate about.
I'm glad.
Cool, Kelsey. Thank you so much.
Bye, Sammy.
Bye.